Good day and welcome to Dub's Paradise. I'm Dub, short for Big Dub, and remember, always have character and self-control. Today, we're going to talk about the Champions League results from yesterday. We're going to look ahead to next week's Champions League matchups. We're talking about the Leafs and what they have to do at the deadline. We'll preview the Indian Wells matches I'm looking forward to. And we'll wrap it up by talking about some NFL news. There's not much going on in the NFL right now, but there's some news that's worth talking about, so we'll go over that. So, first of all, I was way off with my prediction for the Champions League yesterday. Well, I was way off with the Real Madrid results. I was way off. They didn't even win that game. They drew against Leipzig, which I knew would be a good team and a good matchup for Real Madrid, but I didn't expect them to even at home be put to the test like that. Like, they easily could have lost that game if Leipzig finished chances. Like, they had a lot of chances and they missed the net wide. They missed they hit the defender, blocked the shots, etc. And if they had more clinical players, they would have won that game and they would be moving on to the Champions League quarterfinals. But Real Madrid got lucky, and their coach Ancelotti said they have to be better after that scare. They got scared at home against Leipzig. But at the end of the day, they needed a goal, Real Madrid, and who else to deliver than the superstars Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr. Jude's pass was just crisp, perfectly weighted, and Vinny's finish was world class. It was what he does. And even though sometimes I felt like throughout that game, I felt like Vinny, he's kind of a selfish player. Like, watching him play, not only yesterday, but throughout the times I've been watching him play, he just tries to carry the ball in the zone, like the penalty area, and try to deke around players or like footwork around players, but then he just loses the ball. And it happened a lot yesterday when I felt like he could have passed, like maybe like chip shot up over the defender and let like Jude get a header in the net, because Jude is tall and he's physical and he's good at getting headers in the net. Like, he always does it. Like, the goal that got disallowed, that was a header into the back of the net. So I think during practice, I mean, I'm not the coach, I'm not a soccer expert. I'm not a football expert, but I think during practice, the coach has definitely got to express to Vinny to pass the ball, because he tried to deke around the players and he just lost possession. Leipzig goes down and tries to get a chance, but like I said, they missed the net. After Real Madrid scored, Leipzig didn't lose any confidence. They were trying to come back, and they scored, like 5 minutes after, and it was quite impressive how I guess it's just bad luck how they can score. How they had to wait until Real Madrid scored before they themselves get a goal 5 minutes later, and it's back to 1-1. And after that, they couldn't do anything else. It's just weird how football works like that. But they really did well for Germany, and going forward, they have some confidence maybe in the Bundesliga and whatever else tournaments are going to be in next season and going forward. But they definitely showed that there won't be a pushover. So we're going to see who Real Madrid faces in the quarterfinals, or what is it, the round of 8 teams left, the quarterfinals. And hopefully they perform, but if Vinny Jr. continues to play like kind of selfish like, it's going to be a hard time against even stiffer competition, but it depends who they play in the next round. So one prediction I was right about, or a bit right about, was Man City just rolling through Copenhagen, and from the opening kickoff, Man City had total control of that game. They were in cruise control the entire second half. After 10 minutes, Man City was up 2-0, and it seemed like they were gonna at least get like 5 goals in the first half. And of course, Haaland, Mr. Automatic Goal, finished it off before halftime finished. In 45 plus minutes, he just got his usual goal, and they could be chilling after that. They were up 3-0, And that's it. Well, I mean, Copenhagen did get a goal. I believe they were up. I believe Man City was up 2-1, and then Erling Haaland got his usual goal, and they put him up 3-1, and that was like 6-2 aggregate. And then second half came out, and they were just like passing the ball around, trying to defend, or trying to just like not make Copenhagen touch the ball, which was, I don't know, at least try to score some goals. I mean, you're not gonna see them again for until maybe next year, so just try to score some goals. It's not a bad. And then Pep Guardiola took off his starters very early, put on some kids, and then the kids tried to score some goals, but it was just tough for them because they weren't really in dire need to score goals. They were up 6-2. I guess they're just looking forward to their weekend matchup against Liverpool. And I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to that matchup. I believe it's on Sunday, but I'll double check that for tomorrow's podcast, or tomorrow's episode of Dub's Paradise. And we'll see. I'm not going to make any predictions yet because I really got to sit down and focus and think about what's going to happen and who's going to win the Champions League. And Liverpool's at home. They're playing at Anfield. But Man City is just a total juggernaut. And even though Liverpool is good, Jurgen Klopp is a great coach. They have great players. They don't have the players that Man City does. But I'll wait until I make my prediction to be official about what I'm gonna say. But I'm just really looking forward to that game. It's gonna be great on the weekend. So Man City's next matchup in the Champions League, we'll see who that's gonna be. But either way, I don't think they have anything to worry about. It's gonna be maybe an Italian team or a Spanish team, and with the players that Man City has, they really have no concern. Like Erling Haaland, Foden, Julian Alvarez, who hardly even starts, he even scored a goal yesterday, and they made it look rather easy. So they're probably only gonna face trouble when it's like down to the final four teams. And like last year in the finals, I don't want to say they faced an easy team, but they kind of had it rather simple all the way through. But it's quite impressive to win that Champions League, FA Cup finals. Man City is total juggernaut status. They're amazing. I hope Chelsea maybe can one day even come close to what they're accomplishing. But I mean, Chelsea has accomplished a lot of what Man City has accomplished, but right now Chelsea is just in turmoil, and like the light at the end of the tunnel, it seems like it's not that bright at the moment. But they have a weekend or a Monday matchup against Newcastle, and they're at home. They're at Stamford Bridge, so they should be able to do better than their last matchup against Newcastle, where they got smoked, where they got the floor wiped with them because they just didn't feel like trying, seems like. But yeah, everyone's calling for Mauricio Pochettino to get fired. They are calling for Graham Potter to get fired. In my opinion, Poch is a better manager than Graham Potter. I feel like if we had, like I said, I love Nico Jackson, but if we had players who could finish chances, be confident on the ball, like know when to take a first touch shot or dribble it and get the ball in the back of the net, like I said in the first episode, Kylian Mbappe. A player like him, of course, that's asking for too much, but I gotta ask. But yeah, I feel like if Chelsea had a player like that, their record would be completely different. And it just makes one player, so I'm not quite sure why all the fans are losing patience with Pochettino, as if they're also not calling for a proper striker. So it's just tough. But football, the fans are passionate. The supporters, they just love their teams. And when a team like Chelsea, with historic status, the pride of London is blue, when they're not doing well, they're just losing patience. And maybe they don't want all these young kids. Maybe they just want to win, because really that's all that matters, is winning. And I agree. But the young players that we have on Chelsea right now, like, I'm obsessed. We got We got defenders who have to get more experience, because they've shown flashes of being great, and then here and there they have moments that's like boneheaded plays. It's like, what are you even thinking by doing that? We have a midfield, Enzo, Caicedo, Conor Gallagher, just engines, just horsepower, just like, too bad against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. They got tired, or else they would have won that game. Like, Enzo is great. Once we get like proper finishers, proper forwards for him to pass the ball to, and for him to start to make plays with, you're gonna see how he's gonna thrive. Caicedo, I'm not quite sure if he's offensive or mostly defensive, but what I've seen from him so far is that he's trying to he hustles a lot on defense, and he tries to move the ball forward on offense, but the forwards are, like I said, not that consistent, so it's tough. But he's 110 million pounds he cost, and everyone's saying we got ripped off, but we'll see it pay off. I'm sure. I'm confident. But our forwards are what we need to improve on. We need a striker. We need a wingers, or we need not a wingers. We need wingers, and Cole Palmer, Nico Jackson. Like, Nico is great at. He's a great player, except for being a striker, which is what his job is. So it's tough. Like, the passes he makes, his hustle. It's honestly elite. Like, he has made some great passes, and Cole Palmer is incredible. But you got guys like Madueke, you got guys like Mykhailo Mudryk, Raheem Sterling, who I don't want to question. Like, Sterling's heart, you can say that he doesn't hustle that much. Madueke, he's been rather inconsistent. Like, sometimes he feels like trying, sometimes not. Mudryk, I feel like the reason he doesn't play that much is because his first touch, like, the ball hits his foot and it goes 10 miles wide, or off the foot, and then he has to run, use his amazing speed to catch the ball, and then he starts to make plays, which he does rather well. But he's got to really work on his first touch, and I think he'll be elite. But he's a good scorer. He's a good runner, good playmaker. He can do it all. But that first touch is what needs to be fixed. So, I was talking about Champions League. It's going to be a week off until next week, when you're going to have 4 more matches. Next Tuesday, we're going to have Barcelona facing Napoli, who are tied 1-1 in aggregate. We're going to have Atletico de Madrid versus Inter Milan, and Inter's up 1-0 on aggregate. We're going to have Dortmund and PSV, who are tied 1-1 on aggregate. And we're going to have Arsenal versus Porto also on Tuesday. Sorry, I missed Arsenal versus Porto on Tuesday, and Arsenal is down 0-1 on aggregate. They lost the first matchup, which is surprising, and they didn't look good at all. They're focused on winning the Premier League, it seems like, but now they're going to be at home against Porto, and they should come out guns blazing. On the weekend, they scored 5 goals. They scored 5 goals in the first half against Sheffield, and in the Champions League, they didn't score 1 goal against a team like Porto, which I don't want to roast Porto, but a team like Arsenal, who thinks that they're the pride of London, a team like them not scoring a goal, they have to be better. So this time at home, I think they should really handle that. They should handle that, or else it's going to be embarrassing. But you never know, they're probably going to lose because there's a lot of pressure on them, and everyone says that Arsenal chokes. And like I said before, London is blue, baby. London is blue. I'm looking forward to seeing Dortmund play. As far as teams from Germany goes, I really enjoy watching Dortmund. Last year they were playing Chelsea in the Champions League. in the Champions League quarterfinals, I think, and Chelsea beat them. But I was really impressed by how they played. Karim Adeyemi is a great player. They have an ex Chelsea player, Ian Maatsen, and when Maatsen was on Chelsea, I was like, why isn't he starting? Like, he seems to be a great player, and now he went to Dortmund and he's thriving. He gets great assists. He even scored a goal the last game. So hopefully they can move on. But PSV is a good team, but Dortmund is at home, so they should have the yellow wall behind them, and they should be able to handle, maybe score 1 or 2 goals. But it's going to be a great matchup, I think. I'm not too familiar with Atletico de Madrid and Inter Milan, but that should be a good matchup too, especially because it's still a close aggregate score. Barcelona versus Napoli, they're tied 1-1 on aggregate, like I said, and Barcelona in La Liga this year, they're a laughing stock compared to Real Madrid. Their coach is having issues. They're losing games. They have an ex-player of Chelsea, João Felix, who when I saw him play on Chelsea, like, I really wasn't impressed, but I wasn't really impressed with anybody on Chelsea last year except like Enzo. And Napoli, everyone says that Victor Osimhen is going to come to Chelsea. I'm not sure how much I want that, because I don't know about like Italian league players coming to the Premier League is going to be a challenge. Like, everyone, like we'll see what happens. Osimhen is a great player, but in the Premier League it's different. If he doesn't score, he's going to be under mad pressure. He's going to be under mad pressure for missing chances, just like Nico Jackson. And Nico Jackson wasn't expected to be like he is. And considering how many chances Nico has missed, and the fact that he still has 11 goals, I think 12 goals in all competitions this year, to me, he can only go up from there. So we need a striker for sure, but don't discount Nico Jackson, and don't automatically assume that Victor Osimhen is going to be better than Nico Jackson, especially for the price that we're going to have to pay for Osimhen. That's just my opinion. So I'm looking forward to the Champions League next week, and I'm looking forward to the Premier League matchups this week. I'll probably watch some Bundesliga too. But anyways, last night the Leafs played, and they're playing again tonight in Boston, a back-to-back. They won last night against Buffalo. Thank God. I said they should win, and they won, but it was 2-1. They won in overtime. Austin Matthews with his 54th goal, almost at 60. So maybe Ovechkin's record is starting to sweat a bit, but I'm glad the Leafs won. But against a team like Buffalo, should it have been that close, you think? Do you think it should have been a 1-1 score if you compare players? I don't know. Thank God for Ilya Samsonov. Thank God for him. Tonight, Joseph Woll is starting, and he's the one who started against Boston last game, and he allowed 4 goals, but the Leafs just have to be better in front of him. And that's not going to be guaranteed because their defense is leaky AF. And watching them go into the playoffs this year is going to be uncomfortable, because I'm not sure how they're going to survive with that defense that they have. Honestly, it's not a good look. And you have so many teams already making trades before the deadline, which is tomorrow, and the Leafs haven't done one move yet. Like Vladimir Tarasenko from Ottawa, he went to Florida. Florida's currently on a 6-game winning streak. They're currently in the lead for the President's Trophy. I wouldn't like Tarasenko though. I wouldn't really want on the Leafs. Like, he's good, but he's not as good as he once was. On the other hand, Vegas Golden Knights, they got Noah Hanifin from Calgary, and the Leafs he's someone the Leafs need, and Vegas, who's already good, is just getting better. The Edmonton Oilers got Adam Henrique, and he's not like a game-changing player, but he could be a great piece for depth on a team like the Oilers, where they already have a stacked first line, pretty decent second line, and who knows where Henrique will fit in, but he's someone who could add great depth for their team. My favorite team, the Capitals, when they won the Stanley Cup, they just had lines rolling. First line, Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Nicky Backstrom, Tom Wilson, Devontae Smith-Pelly, Adam, Lars Eller. You know, they had a whole bunch of great players. They had a defense, John Carlson, Schultz. Like, I can't remember every single player on their team, but they had a great team, and they had all the lines rolling, and that's what the Oilers are trying to do. But the Leafs don't seem to be trying to do that. Colorado Avalanche, another good team, they're trying to do that. They also made a trade for Buffalo Sabres player Middlestat, Casey Middlestat, who's on Buffalo. I think he has over 20 goals on a team like Buffalo, and now in Colorado, he's just going to be another great piece to add depth to their lineup. And meanwhile, the Leafs are doing nothing. And if they lose tonight, we're going to see what happens, because the deadline is tomorrow and they need defense. One player I keep hearing about, and I am not a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, but if I had one player I liked on that team, it would be Jake Gensel. So, and apparently he's on the trade market too, so he could be traded, and maybe that's what the Leafs have up their sleeves, and that would be a great move for them. He could be a first line player with Matthews at the center. Imagine that the power play would be totally reshaped with him, who's a sniper. He's a great goal scorer. The Leafs, if they had a first round pick, or if they have a first round pick, I would trade it for Jake Gensel and then lock him up to be a long term player on our team, because he is probably, if like, out of all the players who would be traded, he is the best player. So maybe the Leafs GM, Trey Living, maybe he's trying to work that out. Who would I trade for Gensel? First round pick. Like I said, some players, I heard that they don't want to trade Matthew Nyes. I heard they don't want to trade some prospects, Minton or Cowan, who I really haven't seen play. I heard Cowan is on a London Knights, and he currently has like a 30-game point streak, which is incredible, but the NHL is a different story, obviously. So tonight we'll see what happens with the Leafs, if they redeem themselves, but I really don't have any hope. They're on a back-to-back, and Boston embarrasses us every single game. Every chance they get, even if they're struggling, they're like, okay, the Leafs coming to town, we're playing the Leafs, we got to embarrass them. So the Leafs have to have some sort of spine tonight. They got to be physical. They got to come out flying. And sadly, they're on a back-to-back, so we'll see what kind of effort they have, because to lose to Boston twice in 4 days, it's not good. And as of right now, we're going to be playing them in the first round of the playoffs, and that is what's going to happen. So the Leafs, they need to make a couple major trades at the deadline. My dream is that they get Jake Gensel. My dream, maybe they can get Seth Jones from Chicago for a defenseman. So that's what the Leafs are doing. Okay, so yesterday was like the opening full day of Indian Wells. We had a full day of tennis matchups, and I can't say I watched all of them. They were like, I wasn't sitting down watching all the matchups. You heard me in the first episode or second episode talking about Christopher Eubanks and how he kind of has, since his Wimbledon since he broke out in Wimbledon last season, he's kind of been going downhill since then, and he seems to like to commentate on ESPN more than, winning in tennis, which I'm just exaggerating, could be, but it depends how much he gets paid, really, because it's all about the money at the end of the day. And like I said, to no surprise, Eubanks was eliminated in the first round of the Indian Wells Tennis Paradise. So now he's probably going to go to commentating for ESPN and making money like that, enjoying his time in California. I don't blame him, but to play tennis, you got to really want to be there, I guess, to and work hard and be physical and put your body through that. And commentating is just so easy. So maybe he's not like that. Maybe he's just like, I just enjoy my time commentating, because he could have won that game. He could have won that match. His serve is great. It was one of those matches where it went to a tiebreaker because one person couldn't break the other person. So it was like Christopher Eubanks won his serve session, then the other American he was playing won his serve session, etc., etc. Went to a tiebreaker, and he lost in straight sets. It's tough though. It's tough. Oh my god though. So for my first episode of Dub's Paradise, second episode, I was like looking forward to Rafael Nadal playing today versus Milos Raonic, the Canadian. I was looking forward to it so much, trying to predict who's going to win that game. And then I found out last night that Nadal had to withdraw from the tournament because he's not feeling up to the task of playing at such a high level. It's hard when you're coming back from a major injury like he was and your body just doesn't feel right. And instead of going out on the court just to play for the sake of playing and not putting on the show that he wants to put on, that everyone is used to him seeing, instead of going out and suffering for no reason, he just decided to withdraw. And it's a tough decision, but it's okay. And it's not like Milos Raonic is going on to the next round automatically. Tonight he's facing a player named Nagal. Honestly, I have no idea who this guy is. So maybe, just because I don't know him doesn't mean he's a bad tennis player. But maybe, I don't know. I hope Raonic can beat this guy. That'd be nice for him to move on in Indian Wells and go out with a bang. But he's also kind of aging too. He's also aging too, like Nadal is, and it's not easy. And I'm not sure if the guy he's playing is a young man or like a middle-aged tennis player, sort of. But Raonic, hopefully he can win at least one matchup and make the Canadians proud. But we're proud of Milos. Other matchups for the men's side I'm looking forward to today is Gael Monfils, the Frenchman, Mr. Showman. He usually lately, in his past tournaments this year, he's won at least the first round, and then he's kind of gone out in the second round and just been watching his wife, Elena Svitolina, from the stands. So he might put on a good show today and then just get worn out for the next matchup. But he's had his time, and he's a great tennis player, and everyone loves to watch him play. So I'm going to try to catch a few minutes or a few sets of Gael Monfils today. Then you got another Canadian playing, Denis Shapovalov. He's going to be going on trying to at least win one round. He hasn't been doing that well last season. So hopefully he can at least win one matchup, and then we'll see how he goes from there. We got Stan Wawrinka, who's playing. I think he's playing rather early, and I'm not quite sure about who he's playing or the caliber of who he's playing, but it should be a good matchup for him. I believe like Monfils, I believe Raonic, I believe Shapovalov, Wawrinka will all move on. But then once they start playing the big boys, because they're still on their bye weeks or their bye matchups, so they're waiting for all these qualifying matches to finish, and then that's when the big boys are going to be playing, and that's when the tournament's going to be underway. On the women's side, you heard me mention about Paula Badosa, and I checked to see how she was doing in her game to see if she was going to be like near losing or lost already. And turns out she had to withdraw due to injury. I'm not sure what the issue was with her injury, but I can't say it was a coincidence based on everything I've said about her in the first two episodes. I can't say that her withdrawing is a surprise. I don't know how dedicated she is to fitness and keeping her body in shape to play high level tennis. So she just withdrew, and now she's just going to be chilling in California, and that's okay. But I don't know what to say about her. At least she's out now. I thought you probably listening to this saying he's taking it personally or something like that, but trust me, it's not. But I'm just unimpressed with people who don't work their hardest, who seem to be distracted by certain things and are not trying to actually win. Like I already mentioned, Francis Tiafoe, I heard him say, I guess I took this more personally because he said it in the Rogers Cup in Toronto, like the tennis tournament, like the ATP 1000 tennis tournament in Toronto, and he lost that game, and he said, "Oh, I'm just looking forward to the U.S. Open," as if like Toronto's not important, as if Toronto isn't, a top 3 city in the world. But it's okay. It's okay. So yeah, and I haven't really seen him win. I thought since he said that, I was like, okay, we're gonna see how he does in the U.S. Open. We'll see what he does, and he was out. So, all talk. Unlike Taylor Fritz, who just seems to be unlucky, facing Novak Djokovic every single time he makes it further enough to get to that point. Last year's U.S. Open, Tiafoe lost to Ben Shelton, and Shelton was kind of like a star at that time. Like he was like a rising star, and that was tough for Tiafoe to get past him. I'll admit it, but Tiafoe has more experience. Ben Shelton was kind of a kid, so you kind of got showing up. I gotta say. So it's not just Badosa. I'm taking things personally by how by their actions, their effort. It's I notice things, and I gotta mention it because you're professional. You gotta act professional. Always give your 110%. A, B, C, D. Above and beyond the call of duty. Took me a while to figure out that acronym, but yes, that's exactly what they're not doing. Not going above and beyond. But first 2 days of this of Dubs Paradise, I didn't even mention Naomi Osaka. She's came back from giving birth. She's came back from mental health issues. Played in the Australian Open. She won, I believe, one round in the Australian Open, and then she got eliminated. And she's working her way back up to fitness level. Like, you can't blame her for losing. Now she's kind of playing in the qualifying matches for Indian Wells, and she's playing today. So hopefully she can win this round and then get some more confidence moving forward for the season, and we'll see how she does by the U.S. Open. But she is a great tennis player, and once you have the skill and the talent and you have the drive to try to get back to where you were, she should be back to where she was. And then we're going to see her competing with like Sabalenka, Swiatek, Coco Gauff, Pegula, Rybakina, all those great tennis ladies. Okay. It was a quiet night in the NBA there. I wouldn't say there's anything worth talking about, so forgive me for skipping over NBA today. But I haven't really talked about the NFL that much. There also hasn't been that much important news. There's been a bit of news, but some things I guess were expected. I'm not sure if you're aware, if I mentioned anything in the first episode, but my favorite team is the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's upside down. The Pittsburgh Steelers. My favorite football team. My favorite NFL team, I should say. And they're in dire need of a quarterback. I had hope for Kenny Pickett. He did well in the preseason, and of course that was just preseason. And when the season started, he was struggling, mightily struggling. And once you know it, a quarterback is now on the market. Russell Wilson was released by Denver, and I mean, if he goes to Pittsburgh Steelers, that'd be great, because he definitely would be an upgrade with Mike Tomlin over Kenny Pickett, and a good wide receiver group, a good running back group, a good defensive group. If with Russell Wilson on their team, they should be a playoff team. But I mean, I'm just talking because I'm a fan of the Steelers, but who knows? Russell Wilson did not show any signs of being what he was in Seattle when he was on Denver, and you can't really blame him. I don't know about his attitude either. Like, honestly, I'm not really sure if I want him now that I think about it on the team. He's a great player, but I don't know if I really want him. I'm tired of having divas on Pittsburgh. Like, we had Antonio Brown, we had Le'Veon Bell. I don't want to have any more people who just want to make it about themselves. One player who seems to be on the block for trading is Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I can't really say had a fair shake in Chicago so far. He hasn't been around the right players. He hasn't been around the right coaches to really succeed. And now Chicago has the first overall pick in the draft. And who are they going to pick? Caleb Williams, or trade the pick. And keep Justin Fields. In my opinion, I wish they would trade Justin Fields to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because is really what we need. That would make our offense super dynamic. Mike Tomlin needs a quarterback like Justin Fields who can run, who can pass. We have wide receivers who are great. We have running backs who are great. And with Justin Fields in the mix, they'll be a playoff team again. They will have a good record. They wouldn't just be struggling to win games. They have a high-powered offense. So if I were the Bears GM and management staff in that organization, I would trade Justin Fields to Pittsburgh, and drafting Caleb Williams. Like, he's been projected to be the number 1 overall pick for the past 2 seasons. He was great at USC, but he didn't really impress that much last season. Like, they lost a couple games. They weren't even close to making the playoffs, the college football playoffs, like everyone thought they should be with a guy like Caleb Williams on their team. I wouldn't. Maybe it's just politics. I don't know what it is. There seems to be a good amount of quarterbacks who are available. Drake May, Jaden Daniels, a Heisman winner of all people, who seems to be playing in tougher conferences and had better stats. So I don't know if I'm gonna say that Caleb Williams would be a bust. But he's like, is Bryce Young gonna be better this year? Who knows? I never had faith in Alabama quarterbacks anyways. Tua seems to be doing well at Miami, but he's not like, he's really overrated in Miami. Like, that team is really overrated. So Caleb Williams, I don't know if he's gonna be a superstar. Jaden Daniels could be better. Like, I mean, I predicted last year. There's no proof. I can't go back and say and go on the tape and say that I said this, but I did say last year that CJ Stroud was going to be better than Bryce Young. And did I think he was going to be better by like a country mile? No, but I did say he was going to be better, and he was better by a country mile. CJ Stroud, he's a great quarterback, and the Houston Texans have a bright future. A young coach, a young great quarterback, young wide receivers, great running backs, great defense. They're on the path to success, and they'll probably surpass like the Bills. They'll probably surpass all these other teams who their window is closing. So I don't know what's going to happen with this quarterbacks in the draft, but I hope that the Steelers can get Justin Fields. I hope Jaden Daniels. LSU is my school. I love Joe Burrow, and it broke my heart when he went to Cincinnati, because I hate Cincinnati. Like, I'm going on the record now to say that I hate the Cincinnati Bengals, but Joe Burrow's on the team, so I love Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase too, from LSU. Like, it's crazy how they went to my least favorite team in the NFL, and they're having success now. They almost won a Super Bowl, and I was like, do I want them to win a Super Bowl? Like, no, I don't, because they're on Cincinnati, and I wish they went somewhere else. Oh, I wish they did. Imagine they were on the Steelers, I would be in heaven. Like, I wouldn't have anything to complain about as far as sports go, like, ever. Oh my God, that would be insane if they're on Pittsburgh. So we'll see what happens with Cincinnati and the quarterback situation there. It's gonna be the Grand Prix weekend. Right now they're doing practice. They finished practice 1, the Formula 1 Grand Prix in Saudi Arabia this weekend. They finished practice 1 earlier, like an hour and a half ago, and they're gonna be doing practice 2. Mercedes didn't look that well. Of course, Verstappen, first place in practice, Fernando Alonso was second place. Checo Perez was third place. Just practice, just saying. Tomorrow's going to be qualifying at 12 noon Eastern time. And we're going to see what happens then. But it's probably going to be Max, Charles Leclerc, Checo taking in that order for qualifying for the grid on Saturday. I don't know why Formula One has back-to-back races on Saturday. Like, what's with that? I didn't really see any news about why they're having Saturday races, but is it because of the Premier League games? Maybe that could be Sky Sports broadcasting schedule, maybe. But like I just like Sundays. I like watching the Formula One races Sunday morning. Saturday it seems like it's too early. Like, what am I gonna do on Sunday? Watch Premier League. I can't complain about that. Honestly, I can't. So tomorrow we're going to talk about some more Indian Wells action. We're going to talk about the results from last night or today and look forward to the day's matchup because they play in the afternoon and into the evening and nighttime. There are going to be some big players playing tomorrow. There's going to be a good NBA game. We'll talk about tomorrow, Boston versus Denver. Boston's on the road, coming off just blowing a massive lead to the Cavs at home. So Boston might come out flying, but then nothing you can do about Djokovic and Jamal Murray. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, I'm sorry. And once again, every day is a day closer to MLB opening day, which is what I'm really looking forward to. And I gave my predictions for MVP last episodes. I said I'm picking Harper for NL MVP and I'm picking Julio Rodriguez for AL MVP. And as we get closer to opening day, I'm going to give my predictions for the manager, for the Rookie of the Year, for the Cy Young. I'll have it, but I'm just trying to save some talks for later. So, episode 3 of Dub's Paradise is a wrap. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. And please subscribe, like the video, comment any opinions you might have, any ways I can improve, anything you want me to talk about. I think I have some good opinions if you want to hear them. Just tell me what's up and I'll take into consideration. Thanks for watching and have a great day.